I don't know which co-parent needs to hear this, but stop beating yourself up because the relationship didn't work. Okay? I totally understand. None of us got into a relationship with someone and had kids with them thinking that, oh, I'm finna leave this person and I'm gonna go be a single parent or my kids are gonna have two different households. We don't go in with that, right? It's not always that, oh, yes, there's situations where people are just shitty because I didn't have a deadbeat dad, I had a deadbeat mom, so I gotta say people. But I will say this much to you because I feel like there's somebody that needs to be sewn into today. There has to come a point where you lay down the things that this person did to you or the fact that the relationship didn't work. I know I had to forgive myself for what I called overstaying. Okay? I knew, I knew, baby, honestly, I knew in year one that it wasn't going to work. But I wanted my children to have a two-parent household so bad because I didn't have one. And everybody around me was praising me for having that and was praising their dad for that. But nobody saw the suffering. Nobody saw the chaos. Nobody saw the abuse. Nobody saw the infidelity. Nobody saw the lies. Nobody saw the skeletons that were in the closet. Nobody saw any of those things. And trying to keep up appearances is what kept me so long. Self-sacrificing and saying, okay, I'm just going to stick it out, you know, hoping it'll get better. My kids get to see their dad every day. But while my kids got to see their dad every day, they also saw a very unhappy mommy. They saw a depressed mommy. They saw a mommy that drank her feelings away. They saw a mommy that could not fully be present and was pretending. They saw a mommy that was surviving. I wasn't happy, I was surviving. They saw a mommy that put everybody's needs before her own while simultaneously being mistreated. And we want certain things for our children, but we don't even show them those things. And I get on here, yes, and I tell my experiences. And Lord knows I could write a book on the past relationships that I've had. But my children and those people's children have social media, so I try to keep it to just my experiences. But if I'm telling my daughter, hey, don't let a man do this, this, and this to you, it has no merit if I'm letting a man do those things to me, right? Or like with my sons will see certain things or they'll see me go through certain things. And yes, I can tell them, be better. Don't be like this, that, and the third. But if they're seeing me accept that, then what good does that make, right? My oldest son told me right around the time that my last relationship ended how disappointed he was, and not only his father but his adopted father. And I feel so bad because I remember seeing a piece of him break. There was a few situations that happened before I just was like, okay, no. And there were some things that my son overheard the other parent saying about me from the other room to some other people. And I think that that was the day, out of everything that he had seen, I think that was the day that changed his relationship with him. And so while I make it a point to not speak on either of their fathers in a negative way, at least with them in the room, um, I can't erase those experiences. I just have to make sure that I make better choices. It's ironic, but my mama used to always say like, there's no need to down talk the other parent because kids get older and they figure it out, which is true. It's just funny coming from her because she was the one that got figured out. But whenever my son has a grievance about something, because he, like I said, he feels let down, I always come to him and I say, okay, that feeling that you have, that's very valid. But I want you to make sure, I want you to understand that number one, that is not healthy behavior. And mommy should not have gone through that, but mommy holds herself accountable for sitting and sticking through it. And I even explained to him, I wanted you to have a two-parent household so bad. I know that your biological father let you down. So I tried so hard to keep this one around you so that you had a father figure. but it was constant. It was causing my baby anxiety. He was having panic attacks and anxiety attacks, and every time this man yelled at me, my son felt like he had to protect me. I remember him telling me one time, like, I be afraid to tell you things because I don't know if he's gonna really hurt you one day. And that was the thing that made me say, you know what? Okay, because the behavior was getting more and more aggressive. Um, but I always remind him that, one, to not internalize that, but to look at these things and go, okay, I've seen these things. I'm going to be a better person. I said, because sometimes people will see what the other parent went through or how one of the parents acted, and they will use that as an excuse to be a shitty person. And so I've told him, hey, do you take these things that you don't like and you make sure that you're better. I also take my own trauma and the trauma that I know of that past person, and I make sure that I'm not putting that on my kids as well. I won't say anything in regards to that because him and his family business is theirs, but there are some things that he said to me in confidence. And so I understand where some of his behaviors and personality defects come from, and I really try to make sure that I am not causing that same trauma to my boys because I see where it can go. But I say all of that to say the only thing that we can do now is move forward. And moving forward is forgiving yourself. Unfortunately, but I guess fortunately, unless you're dealing with a deadbeat and you don't have to deal with them, if this is somebody that you're going to have to deal with, you're going to have to get to a point where you let that hurt go. And however you see fit. Don't go jumping into no other relationship. I know some people do it. Heal from that last one first. Otherwise, you're going to look up and you're going to be in the same cycle.